Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be discussing a little bit in depth on why I think, what I feel about Shinobi's buff. Now, the most common question I am asked when I play Shinobi, or when people notice how high level I am on Shinobi, is do I think Shinobi should have been buffed? And the answer is a mix of both yes and no. So, the way the state of the game is assassins have only slightly less health than most other characters, if not equal to other characters' health pools, even though the general term for assassin is supposed to be weak in defense but strong in offense. Now, the assassin Shinobi is supposed to be qualified as a hard assassin due to his low health pool but high damage output. When they buffed his health, they inadvertently they inadvertently just made it, well, I wouldn't say inadvertently. They intentionally made Shinobi easier to play, even though he is supposed to qualify as one of the harder characters in the game. When they did this, it just removed any point of why Shinobi was entirely acceptable. Now, since he has a larger health pool, people are actually, they don't like him because it takes long to kill him, and uh, they they have a hard time punishing his kick due to the character they chose at that time, or because of complete ignorance. And the problem with this is not necessarily with Shinobi, but because they tried to standardize his health pool with most other assassins, when assassins in general have a high health pool compared to other characters, they just threw Shinobi in with the rest of the bunch with a unique moveset. A lot of people already think Shinobi should not belong in this game because of how he is. Now, when you say Shinobi, when you put Shinobi out there as a unique character, and then you make everything else about him not unique after a couple people complained, it doesn't really make much sense. Now, in the beginning, in my initial, after the buff was released, I claimed I did not need the buff. But after a while, I came accustomed to punishes being progressively worse and worse because the growing skill level of the game. And so now I think the Shinobi buff is fine, but was not necessary at the time, especially for the difficulty level that Shinobi was supposed to be placed at. So, right now, however, Shinobi's health pool is fine. But assassins in general are not supposed to be that high of a health pool. So what we have is we have assassins that have equal to or only slightly less health than most vanguards, which are said to be very good in health pool, and also heavies as well. And when you have other classes that have almost equal health to assassins, which doesn't make any sense at all, you have a sense of imbalance in the game. And so that is a big problem. So, it's just not. So, does Shinobi need the health buff? Yes. Now he does. But back then, he really didn't. The only good punishment that you had back then was the Centurion punish, which, understandable. But now, it's not that big of a deal. Like, back then it wasn't a big deal. Now it's okay, fine. It's fine. But I think the assassins in general should have their health scaled properly. Now, damage-wise, damage in the game is perfectly fine, I think, to some degree, if they buffed everyone else's health. See, the problem is not necessarily, hey, this person hits too hard, or this person hits too hard, or anything like that. But I think the problem is health in general. in this game is not very equalized to the classes. You have a Shigoki that has as much health as a Peacekeeper, but in reality it's just fake health. Like, he has supposedly the most health in the game, but he takes more damage without hyper armor, and without that hyper armor he literally has about as much health as a PK, which doesn't make any sense. So, and then the second highest is Lawbringer, who is a hybrid. And I mean, understandably, that's okay, fine. But still, it's at the same time not. So, health in general, it should not be the way it is. Assassins have too much health. Other classes don't. Every other class doesn't have that much health compared to the assassins. So, what I think should happen is everyone else's health should be buffed. That way, it would kind of equalize with the amount of damage the assassins do, and also give everyone else a sense of, hey, assassins aren't freaking overpowered like they are right now. Not saying that assassins are overpowered, but they're better than normal characters, which I think should be a definite change in the game. And beyond that, I think Shinobi's health buff was fine. It really established what Shinobi is, but at the same time it kind of removed his difficulty. Assassins should be hard to play. They should not be, hey, if you have a mediocre skill level in the game, move it to an assassin, you'll be good. I don't think that's how the game should be played. And then we also have the rest of the buff, which is his stamina buff. Yes, that was needed, and I will fight you if you think it wasn't. Because I hated running out of stamina so much as Shinobi when he was supposed to rely on his double dash. But, in fact, he could not because of his stamina at the current time was pretty average. When he's supposed to rely on something like that heavily, but he can't do it, you kind of have a... You just don't... It just doesn't work. Now, that's basically all that I have to say about Shinobi's buff. Was it needed, as I said in the beginning? Yes and no. At the time, no. Right now, yes. And that's pretty much overall how I feel. I've been asked this a lot from most of my friends whenever they ask me about Shinobi. And I felt like this was just a thing that needed to be answered to the community in case anyone else asks, because that's honestly my opinion. If you guys did like this video, make sure to hit a like, don't forget to comment. I'll read your comment, I'll respond to your comment if you ask me a question, and I'll see all you dudes later. Enjoy the gameplay!